I put a turkey diaphragm call in my mouth for the first time 3 days ago. So I'm gonna show you what that was like.
It tickles. It tickles so much.
And fill you in on what I've learned about it since then. I'm down to just over 9 weeks until the season starts, and there is a lot of practicing to be done, and I have not even touched my pot call or my shotgun yet. But before we get into all of that, I'm gonna show you this awesome fan. I am so excited right now. Like, excited doesn't even really scratch the surface. So I guess this goes to show it's a good thing to become friends with people on forums. I started talking to a guy on a forum, a hunting forum, about turkey, and he told me that he had a lot of fans that he didn't have any use for. So I honestly don't really know what I'm about to open up. Like this could be a mess. I might not be able to fan it out and look at it and open it. We'll see, but this should be a turkey fan. And you know, the idea being I can use this on a decoy to make it look a little more realistic. But this is also gonna be the first time that I've touched anything that's a wild turkey. You know, I've seen them. I mean, you see them all over the place, especially in the winter driving around here, but I've never, oh geez, I just got chills. This is awesome. Wow. Wow. Wow, this is amazing. You know, one of the coolest things about turkey, and I guess I can really only say this about turkey that I've seen mounted. You like this, Milo? You interested, Milo? Milo is very interested. You like this, Milo? I've only seen turkey mounted, but they have these blues and these greens that they don't really come across on TV. But man, this is amazing. Freya's interested. You interested too, Freya? All right, come on, hop down. All right, I'm gonna pick up that trash can and then I'm gonna show you a better view of this. I have made some pretty good progress in just a few days on these two books that I got, and I have taken a ridiculous amount of notes that I've been categorizing and I'm gonna share throughout these videos. But I'm gonna let you in on some of those first things that I've learned while showing you the details on this fan. Turkey are the largest game bird in North America, and there are around 30,000 of them in the state of Idaho. They have between 5,000 and 6,000 feathers, and a tom or adult male's feathers are tipped in black, while a hen's are tipped in white. Male turkey also have beards, but 10 to 15% of hens have small beards too. Also, on a jake or a 1-year-old, a beard is very short and usually sticks straight out, but on an older bird, they can be really long. Turkey have a bad sense of smell, but a great sense of vision and hearing. They don't migrate in the traditional sense, but they do shift in elevation to get into more comfortable habitats throughout the year. There are some Rio and Merriam Rio hybrids in Idaho, but for the most part, we're working with Merriams, which are the most susceptible to calling. Calling a turkey to you is done by imitating a hen to attract a tom or an older male. And the most common sound that you'll hear from a hen, especially in the springtime, is a yelp. In the springtime, a yelp will tell a bird where you are, and it's also gonna transmit a feeling of safety or ease that lets them know everything's okay and they can come on in. Now, a yelp comes in all different shapes and sizes, and there's a lot of different reasons and reasons for a bird to yelp and types of yelps that they might do. And because birds vary in age and mood and all kinds of different things like that, a yelp is a very broad sound that can vary greatly in the woods. And for that reason, people say you don't really have to be that good at it, you just kind of have to know the rules. And some of the worst yelps that more experienced hunters have heard in the woods come from actual hens themselves. Because using a diaphragm call seems like it's going to be the hardest, and now that I've been practicing, I hope it's the hardest. But for that reason, I really wanted to start first with a diaphragm call and start building the blocks to learn how to yelp. Now, before you can actually yelp, you have to learn how to make a diaphragm call just make a sound at all. So my goal first is just to hold a note. And then from there, control the pitch of the note, making it high, making it low, so that eventually I can speed up that high to low and repeat it a bunch to make an actual yelping sound with the call. Going into using this call for the first time, I was really confused about how to put it in my mouth, not as far as which way faces forward, because it's this way, but which side is up and which side is down. And that didn't really dawn on me until I was actually about to put it in my mouth. But if you have a call with multiple reeds on it, what you want to do is put the longest reed on the top. The longest reed should go on the roof of your mouth. Now, going into these first attempts, there were a few things I was trying to keep in mind. First, I was trying to keep this call in the center of my tongue so that I could push it to the roof of my mouth and create a seal. And then once you have that seal, you use belly breathing or abdominal breathing to blow air between your tongue and the reeds. That will make the reeds vibrate and then create a turkey sound. Now, when you start looking into diaphragm calls, one thing that everybody talks about is the gag reflex. Now, I talked a little bit in the last episode about my digestive disease. Well, along with that comes a pretty weak stomach, and I have a horrible gag reflex. So a common tip that people give is that if you're dealing with a gag reflex, if this is really hard to keep in your mouth, you can push it farther forward towards the front of your teeth. That way it doesn't feel like it's going down the back of your throat. With that in mind, I think I was just scared to put this thing far enough back in my mouth at all. So it was coming really far forward in my mouth, almost out around my teeth. And if it's coming around my teeth, obviously it's not creating a seal. So I'm going to show you how my first couple attempts went using this, and then I'm going to show you some things that I've changed since then in the last couple days to get a little bit better and actually get this thing to make some noise pretty consistently. Here we go. You said you were going to stop procrastinating. Just stop procrastinating.
That's I did not expect that. Okay. Fuck. Okay, come on.
It's soaking wet now.
What did I do?
This is tough. All right, let's take a break. You just take a break for a second. Okay, I could make that video a lot longer than it is, and there is very little change. Like, yeah, over the course of like 10-15 minutes, I did get some sounds to come out of my mouth, but it wasn't consistent. So there were two main problems I was making, or that I had. The first one being that I was having that diaphragm way too far forward in my mouth. The gag reflex really was not as bad as I thought it would be. Maybe if you're younger or if you just have a really small mouth, that would be a thing. But letting that thing get really far back in my mouth, letting it sit farther back was just honestly a lot more comfortable. I don't really feel it as much, and it makes the breathing a lot easier. All right, which is the second thing I was doing wrong. I read a couple things actually that said to breathe almost like you were trying to fog up your glasses, like a versus a with a blow. And that was really messing me up. I think I was focusing way too much on my abs and my diaphragm and trying to get this deep, like, and obviously that wasn't working. And what eventually started working was to actually think about blowing my air into my tongue. Okay, and yeah, that's coming from my belly and my diaphragm, I guess, but I'm not really thinking about it that way. So if you've got the diaphragm pushed pretty far back in the roof of your mouth, and then you're holding it up with your tongue, so you're pressing your tongue up against it, it helps me to think about blowing into my tongue. So if this is the roof of my mouth and this is where my tongue is pressed up, I'm really thinking about pushing my air right here. And by thinking really hard about like having that coming out, it's getting a lot more consistent. So I'll show you what day 2 sounded like. Okay, so obviously that made a big difference. It gets a lot more comfortable, for me at least, when I'm thinking about keeping that air in and kind of blowing through. Now today is day 3. We're gonna see, here's the real test. I'm gonna see if I can just pop this thing in my mouth and go right for it. I'm a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie. Look at that. All right. Hear my dog barking? They don't like it. All right, I'm gonna keep working on this. I'm gonna get that pot call going. I'm gonna pattern my shotgun here in a couple days, but tomorrow is Wednesday. And every single Wednesday I go fishing. So with any luck, tomorrow we'll bring a catch and cook video.